Welcome. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Welcome to you. Welcome everybody out there to the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and Jen. Here we are again every Thursday. We're here. To offer free coaching.
Yep.
Regarding your life, love, and money matters. And guess what we're addressing today? A matter. Yeah, the matter of my partner is an absolute dud. Sleeper. And he doesn't pay attention to me. He doesn't like to be playful. He rarely touches me, and I'm sick of it. I'm about to leave him. What do I do?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we've all been there. As I roll my eyes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And even when you're in a marriage of 34 years, you got to spice it up.
Yeah, that's where creativity comes in. And
yeah.
Actually, that would be a great episode. We should do that.
Woo, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Where creativity comes in a relationship. Yeah, because I have been, 34 years? Yeah, something like that, long time. But here's the thing. Let's get straight into this because this is a really good question. This has got a lot of depth, actually.
It does on so many different levels and angles. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I first read this question from the person that, submitted it. And by the way, if you have a question for us that you'd like to submit, please DM us your questions, direct message your questions to us. We want to hear from you. We want to answer these questions for you. So, I could have gone straight to go your own way. Go your own way.
You can go your own way.
Woo! That's right. We could have went there, but we're not going there. So what I am going to say and what I'm going to start out with is, we always go to, what do we always say, Jen?
Core values.
Core values. Okay, that's a biggie. That's something that you mentioned on the last one that I didn't mention, but we go there all the time. Like, understand your core values. Are your core values aligning with the person that you're with? Are they not aligning? What are you giving up in regards to your own core values when you're with somebody and it's just not aligning?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go straight to like break up, that's it. But when you match with somebody, even with a job, with a friend, a lot of times that if your core values, like with that friend or that job or that significant other in alignment, it's not going to be a lasting relationship. It's going to be a really difficult relationship. But what I'm going to first start out with here is regarding this question is maybe that person's being a dud because you're not clear about the communication. You're not understanding where this person's coming from. You're not asking questions. You guys aren't taking time to talk. It takes two in a relationship. So you both need to be invested. I mean, time, effort, energy. These are three things I talk about a lot. Time, effort, and energy. What is the time, effort, and energy you're putting into this relationship? Is that person putting that time, effort, and energy back into the relationship just because you're doing it a certain way, putting time, effort, and energy into that relationship? They may be doing it also, but in a different way. But what happens when this is not the way you really want them to spend their time, effort, and energy and investment in that relationship? Jen, you got some words for that? Regarding that?
I know in business, I've heard this a lot because sometimes we're wondering like, well, how come it's not going the way that I want it to? Or how come I'm not getting the results I want? And we all have heard the golden rule where it says, do unto others as they would want to be done unto you, or as you would want to be done unto you. But actually, there was another revision of it called the platinum rule. And this is in alignment with what Summer just talked about, where it's not so much what you think that person would want, it's doing what that person would want you to do. And so, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And, it also takes me to, the book by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages. and really understanding, like, we all have our own love language. We all want to be loved in a certain way, but when we don't understand how our partner receives that love or how they want that love to be given, I mean, you both have great intentions, but if it's not in alignment, on top of not evaluating your core values, this is where you start to feel that conflict and challenge. You're like, what's going on? We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like, no, you're not, because you're not speaking the same language. And so, yeah, I mean, and I know, Summer, you even shared earlier on the other show that, okay, yeah, well, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then we realize, like, oh, wait, I'm not doing what they want me to do to them.
Yeah, exactly. And even in a relationship, like a long-term relationship, like mine, my husband, I'm thinking maybe sometimes I'm doing the right thing. Like, oh, I'm doing his laundry, I'm taking care of his needs, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll say, you know what? I'd like you to go to bed with me at the same time. I'd like to wake up in the middle of the night and have you there and not be in your office. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? It's like what Jen was saying. You may think you're giving to that relationship, but there are other things that that person wants from you regarding the relationship and to nurture the way that they see nurturing is in the relationship or how they would like to be nurtured. So first things first, get clear about your communication and what your needs are. Talk about it. The next thing is, as we've probably talked about before, each and every one of us gets busy with everyday life. It could be our job. It can be the kids. It could be the fur babies. It could be our friends. It could be aging parents that we're caring for. It can be, I mean, there are so many things that infiltrate and take up space and take up time. But that key relationship, that core relationship is your partner, with you and your partner. So you have to take time to be invested with that partner, in that partner, spending time. So remember, even though you get busy, take some time to really, kind of carve out in your day some time to spend with your partner, because that's really important. The next thing is getting comfortable. Ooh, getting so comfortable with each other that you start taking each other for granted.
Oh, that kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
The musical kind of comfortable.
That kind of comfortable. It's so nice to have a partner. It's so nice to grow with that partner. It's so nice to actually age with that partner.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get so comfortable that it becomes freaking boring, don't get so comfortable where it's boring. Keep that spice involved in, add spice to that relationship. Take time to have fun. Remember what it was like when you were going through that honeymoon phase. When you had fun. Yes.
I wanted to pause real quick. So, Summer, can you share with everybody how long have you been with your husband? Like total, even before you guys got married. Like how many years has it been?
Our senior year of high school, which was December 1986.
Oh wow. I like hear that and I'm like, I'm so amazed. And I'm just like, wow, like hashtag relationship goals. And the thing that I got to say about them is I just love that you guys do these trips. I live vicariously through you guys because you're on you're in the West Coast, but I see snow, they have their doggies, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But I think that's so important. I think you guys do an amazing job of keeping that adventure and that fun and keeping it alive, because so many couples have gone into that point where it's boring, it's expected, beyond too comfortable. And yet you guys, even after 30 plus years, you have demonstrated that we can still have fun. We can still have joy and adventure in our relationship. And yeah, I mean, because I follow you on social media. It's like, I love you guys. I'm just like, you have like such this love for one another that it keeps it fun and new. Yeah. Because there is that tendency to easily fall into like, well, we've been together for so long. Like, yeah, but who the heck wants freaking boring? Like, I sure don't.
Yeah. And it takes work. And those are, we take those Sunday drives. We do those kind of things, and we take time, even if we're so busy during the week, because I'm one of those people who are like, leave me alone. I'm in my office. If I could just stay there for a long time.
Yeah.
And I do.
I know, because, okay, y'all, because I'm on the West Coast and it's late here in PST's time zone. Responding to my email, I'm like, girl, you need to be sleeping. It's like 2 a.m. over there.
Oh my gosh. I love what I do.
I know.
just can't help it. I do. And I get so much joy out of helping and supporting and loving my job and people that, benefit from what we do. And it just is exciting to me every single day. Yes, my relationship is exciting. Yes, we do put time into the relationship. Yes, it's really important to make sure that we attend to that platinum rule, because many times, as Jen said, we can think that we're giving our relationship what it needs, but in actuality, that partner may not be seeing it the same way. They may need something else from you. So it's really important to be clear in your communication with one another what it is that you do want, how you can meet each other's needs. It's so important. So, and then we're going to go back to the comfortable part. Yeah. The comfortable part, it's great that you can be comfortable. You can sit on a couch looking whatever. You don't have to have makeup on and blah, blah, blah. You can have your ratty tatty, whatever on, but put some spice into that relationship, because it helps. It makes it exciting. It makes it fun. It stimulates that relationship. And that's important. Just because you may not think it's important, it is important. Yes.
I want to just add something. This is such a great place to add this, what you said about, there is this beauty about being comfortable where, like, I can just show up as myself. I don't have to worry about, like, but when you completely lose that element of, I don't need to get ready, I don't need to be my best. We have to, especially as for women, and I know this might step on some toes, but let's, this is how it is. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. This is probably why you're watching this, but listen, you can't let yourself go. You have to remember in the beginning that excitement of you getting ready, of you getting dressed up. Remember all that effort you would put, like, what do I wear? And when you start to move away from that, you're taking away that adventure, you're taking away that fun and that exciting element. And then you wonder why your partner is ignoring you. And because you kind of have given up, you don't put the same kind of effort. So think about that. There's, and I'm gonna say this from experience. I've had friends, men that have, shared with me, like, I wish my wife would get ready, or I wish she would put more effort. And, I love her, but, I just don't want to see the sweats and t-shirt all the time. So it's like some are saying, you would put that adventure back into it. And so at the end of the day, this is what I see, is that there has to be this balance of, like, yes, there's this beauty and the comfortability and like, each other so well, but yet have also that other side of it where you're bringing back that element of excitement. And like that, do you remember how, like, you were looking forward when you guys were dating and you're like, oh my gosh, it's exciting, we're going somewhere new, and getting ready and picking out the outfit? It's like when you start to completely lose sight of all of that, this is why, like, it's you start to move into that zone of, like, no more effort.
Yeah. So many. I have to go both ways on this, Jen. This quarantine.
Oh boy.
And being in the house with the same person, right? Day in, day out. Brush your teeth. Take a shower.
Back to basics. Like basics.
Take your clothes. Seriously, and I've heard this from both men and women.
Really?
Like, it's not just this comfort level. It's like, it used to be like, you got to go out the door and you got to get ready. You got to like put the suit and tie on. You've got to do this. And now it's gotten so extreme that it's like, you're not even this third day. Okay. It's time to shower. And I even with a girlfriend of mine, she was like, yeah, you know what? It's so funny. And she is funny as all get out. She's like, yeah, my son and my husband are like, whoa, I think you're leaving a trail of a smell, like as you go down the hall.
Pepe Le Pew?
Yes. Or like that Peanuts character where,
yes.
you know, he's got like the dirt coming up and it's like,
what does it mean? Pigpen. Pigpen.
Exactly. Take time for yourself. Take time to care for your person. Yeah. You know, that means getting up, having a routine. So important. And part of that routine is taking care of yourself as well. Because as you take care of yourself, your partner also notices that, yeah, you're invested in yourself. And that Jen, and it's going to go back to that, what you were saying about putting effort into, you know, the relationship, putting in effort into yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were excited about somebody. I was excited about somebody because of the effort they put into themselves, because what they brought to the table in regards to their mind, their, you know, their effort, that like their interest, their, you know, excitement. Yeah. Take time. Take time for yourself, because that person is really interested in what you brought to the table, who you are. Yeah, it's okay to be comfortable with each other. Totally okay. But make sure that you're also taking care of yourself at the same time. And that means both your physical and mental self.
Absolutely. I think both sides need to pay attention to when you just let yourself go. Because in a sense, and I know this subject, especially on YouTube, has gotten so much flack about like, oh, well, you should just accept me as I am. And, you know, you can touch it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's some leeway for that. I get it. There's some leeway for that. But, you know, this is why for me, and I don't do it for anybody else, but for me personally, I am very structured. I'm very routine. I mean, I work out every day, as most of you all know. Like that's probably most of my story is the gym. But it's like, that's just me. That's just me.
And the birds. The gym and the birds.
The ducks and working out.
That's right.
That's my life. And it's just like, you know, but it's so important that we take care of ourselves, because it does, you know, going back to the question, it really does affect how your partner perceives you.
Yeah.
That if you here's the thing, let's take a step back. We always say take a step back. Yeah, right. Lots of taking steps back.
Yeah.
But like, think about this. Like, let's be real. Like, think about this. If you don't even want to take care of yourself, how do you expect somebody else to want to take care of you?
Right.
You know, and putting in the effort, you want somebody to put effort into you, but you're not even demonstrating that you're putting effort into yourself.
Well, how can you even ask somebody that, you know, to even invest in you when you're not investing in yourself? Because here's the thing, they were attracted to you. And I'm going to put this out there. Your mind, your body, your soul, your face, your everything, right? Hey, if they were attracted to like that free spirit, that natural, great. Whatever that means to you, whatever that meant to you putting into yourself, do that. Do what that means to you and what that looked like for your relationship when it started out, because that's what brought you together. That's what we're saying here. What brought you together? What excited you about each other? Don't lose that excitement. Don't lose that not comfort, but don't lose that flame, that, you know, spark it up. Have fun. You know, make sure that you're connecting and that you take care of your mind and body, because it is so important. It really is. And I do have to add, you know, as you mentioned, Jen, you have a routine. And that routine for everybody is so important. You know, I'm going to touch on this really quickly. And I know this is kind of going off topic, but when people retire, they always get excited about retirement. They always get excited about like, yeah, I'll have all this time. And oh my gosh. But you know, many times, and I see this with military people too, what they feel like is they've lost a purpose.
Yes.
And And the reason being is because they've lost their routine. They're not getting ready. They're not like exercising with their team of people. They're not doing A, B, and C. That routine is huge. So even before you retire, make sure you have a routine in place that you're going to stick with. That routine can alter, but make sure you have that routine in place, because you might be idealizing what that looks like on the other side. But in actuality, you can become more lethargic. You can start depressing. You can feel like you've lost your purpose and your focus. Mm-hmm. So stick to the routine. Okay. Yeah. So we were on comfort. You know, it's okay to be comfortable, but take time to take care of yourself and your mind and your body. Now, the next thing is, if that person were to be spending more time with family and friends, again, we're going back to this question. I'm sick of my partner not paying attention to me. If your partner begins to spend time with more family and friends, and they're looking forward to like being away from the house and not being with you, this is a big red flag. This is a big red flag. This is saying that they may not want to spend time with you. Okay. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it is. It is. I will just add though, unless, here's the caveat, unless they're in a situation where they're taking care of an elderly parent, yes, somebody that got sick, a child that went through an accident. Like those are, you know, different circumstances. But if, you know, it's out of the ordinary, and then it's like, okay, it seems like there's always an excuse. It seems like there's never time. It's like, listen, they just don't want to hang out with you. Yeah. Like, let's face the music. They don't want to hang out with you.
They don't want to be, I mean, they don't want to. Okay. And so here's the thing. That's a red flag. And you need to draw that person back in, and you need to talk. Yeah. You need to be really clear about what's going on. Ask the questions. Hey, I want to know what's going on. I feel like you don't want to spend time, or that you're spending time away from the home. Can you answer, maybe, do you feel like we're going away from each other? Do you feel like, you know, that you need to get away because you're feeling stressed? Ask these questions. Come into it with an open heart, open mind, open soul, because you want to find out the answers. And if they're just like shut down, if they've felt like they've tried enough and they're just like, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about this. How does somebody talk about this? Because a lot of complaints that I've heard men tell me is that the ex-partner or the woman is attacking, yelling, screaming, complaining. Yeah. I mean, if he's already ignoring you, that is, or your partner is ignoring you, that's just not the way to do it. But I think sometimes these types of things have to be really pointed out, because we're not becoming aware of putting aside what it feels like and the frustration and the pain. And then it's all coming out when you're trying to communicate with your partner. But we have to understand that when you are approaching your partner, why are you ignoring me? Like, what's going on? Like, really? Like, that's not going to help your case. And so there has to be this very non-judgmental, not attacking kind of approach. I mean, is there anything you want to add to that?
I do. I want to add something that's really important here. I think that there's a difference too between your emotions and your reaction and your feelings. So your feelings are your thoughts, right? About about these emotions that you are, you know, that are inside of you. So I think it's really important, before you get to the point where you're ignoring each other, you're trying to find time away from each other, communicate, talk about this, address it fast, you know, because it can start decompensating really quickly, really quickly, especially if you or your partner are reactionary. If there isn't a reaction and it's like emotional vomit, what's going to happen? That person's going to like walk out the door and go, I don't want to freaking hear this.
Yeah.
I can't handle this right now. So what happens is, we can all have emotions. That's okay. But remember, are we going to be reactive, or are we going to be proactive about this? Are we going to make sure that we kind of understand and harness those emotions and embrace those emotions so we can then express to our partner in an effective way how we're feeling. Because it's like, I just feel like darker. It's going to come out like walls go up, everything shuts down. It's going to be like this, an impasse.
Yeah. Just totally make it worse.
Yeah, it makes it worse. But there are ways to deal with this. There are ways to actually handle this effectively where you're being proactive, not reactive, that the emotions can be brought down to a manageable level where you can then talk about your feelings in an effective way.
Yeah.
I
think that's such a great point, because so many times we're so quick to point the finger, be like, well, you're doing this and you're not doing this for me. But a lot of times is the partner is trying to just get away from you.
Yeah.
Maybe if you are somebody who's just flying off, the ledge and you're just attacking all the time. And sometimes I've seen cases where it's abusive verbally as well as physically. Even if it's just, hitting, scratching. And I mean, obviously that's a whole different case where it starts to get very physically abusive. But, when it starts to get into this place of like, you're feeling verbally attacked, it's like your partner is not gonna, they're not just ignoring you. They're really like, you know what? I just want peace. I don't even want to be around you right now. And so pay attention to how you are approaching things. I think alongside the idea of communicating, it's how you're communicating.
Yeah.
And if you're being very reactive, you need to pay attention to that, because your partner doesn't want to be around somebody who's going to be yelling and not grown and mature and be able to address certain things. And so they're distancing themselves from you because they want safety and they want peace.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I've heard this so many different times from different people, and ironically from men.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is with men, they're in this certain situation where they know they're the man and they can't do anything because it's not going to look good. I mean, what are they going to do? They can't hit the woman back.
Yeah. Well, first off, let's address this really quickly, because I think this is really important. We don't have the right to put our hands on anybody else. Like, exactly. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You don't have that right. That's not a right. That's not a right. So remember, I don't care if you're man, woman, otherwise, I don't care. That is not okay to put your hands on somebody else. When you feel that way, take a step back, leave the room. Just let your partner know, I've got to go. Like, I've got to get centered. I got to get refocused, because when it gets to that point, yeah, I would say that's a different conversation altogether. Mm-hmm. That's time to get some help for yourself.
Yeah.
So, but let's go back to the place where that person just wants to leave and be away from you. Mm-hmm. That's because there are red flags happening. There are things going on in that relationship that have yet to be addressed, or maybe they were addressed and weren't heard. And so again, if you go back to this segment, but what we said previously, there are effective ways to actually address things where you're open in your heart and your mind and your emotion. And rather than talking about this when you're really emotional, step back, because emotions and feelings are different things. You can be really proactive about this. Take a step back, and rather than being reactive and emotional, understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Really get clear with what that is, what these emotions are that you're feeling, and then go back to the person when you're ready, when you're calmed down, because a breath, just a breath. When you say to kids or even adults, count backwards, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. That time, the reason we're doing it is that time allows space and your emotions to actually really calm down and your body start to relax. Yeah. And then it allows for some more clarity. So it gives you that space. So it's not just an exercise of, count backwards. No, it actually there's rationale to it. So it allows it's huge. So take that moment, take that 10 seconds to step back, take the opportunity to say, listen, I got to leave the room right now. Now, here's the thing that I do see, Jen, is when somebody comes and starts going, and keeps coming at them. So it's a two-way street. That person's got to stop coming at them, allow them their space, and really allow that person to take a step back so they can be proactive rather than reactive. Because that's when people start just not allowing that person space and keep going and keep going and keep going. That's when we see the escalation and we see things blow up. So
yeah, super huge. I know. So we actually, Summer and I talked about this last night on a live in our group. By the way, it's feel free to join us in the Life, Love, and Money Collective.
Yes,
that's our Facebook group, and we talked about this last night about breathing, and so easy for us to just fly off the handle, and you know, when we're upset and frustrated and hurt. But as simple as breathing sounds, it is so effective because it really does have this. It's like, yeah, because it's so easy for like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, and you're like, but there is a physiological as well as neurological benefit to it. It really does calm you down. I mean, why do you think meditation works?
Absolutely.
And prayer and those types of things, because it's that whole like calming you down, because you do have clarity, you do become more rational, and then you're able to come into the situation in a very, very calm manner. And it's only going to help you when you're trying to just like, hey, why are you ignoring me? Like, what's going on? You know, talk to me. I want to hear how are you doing?
Love it. And by the way, when you do count backwards rather than forwards, because that also gives you a little bit more time to kind of regulate.
I love that.
Yeah. So, because it's so easier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when you go 10, 9, you got to be more focused, and then it allows you.
You do.
So
it's like de-escalating versus escalating, like going from 1 to 10 versus like there is this feeling of like, I'm calming down. I'm coming down to ground level.
Yes. Brilliant point. Love that. So use that technique. Give yourself some time. But if that person wants to spend time with family and friends, remember, it's like address it because that is big red flag. Let's go on because we have a couple more things. If they are spending more time on electronics, on the phone, at work, it's time to have a real open and honest communication and conversation about what's going on in their relationship. That's like the same if they want to spend time out of the house. Big red flags. Another big red flag, they're not making plans with you. They stop making plans for the future. They stop thinking about, ouch, big red flag. When somebody stops talking about the future with you, they're not even thinking about the next 5 minutes with you.
Right. That is
thinking about what they're going to do when they get out of the house. Right. So these are big red flags. Again, it all goes back to communication. It all goes back where you want to spend your time, effort, and energy, and where you're investing in this relationship. Here's the last thing I'm going to say. If you're not a priority in this relationship, you can choose to have the conversation about what it looks like to be the priority. You can also model what it looks like to be a priority in that relationship. But at the end of the day, when the relationship has potentially run its course, we have to take a stand back and a stand up, meaning you have to make a firm decision about what it is that you want to do. Because you're the only one. Again, I say this quite often. You're going to hear me say this. Choice is a superpower. And you have to make the choice to figure out what it is that you want to do about this relationship. If you want to stay with it, if you want to leave it, if you want to help it by getting some support. But that's up to you. And very last thing, remember, you really don't need anybody else to fill that cup. Right? Your cup. If your cup is half full, don't expect somebody else to fill that cup up for you.
Yeah.
It's just an unreasonable expectation. What I asked is, fill your own cup. Have that full cup of hot chocolate. You know what this is like, Jen?
What?
This is like marshmallows. The person that you're drinking is like the marshmallows. They're like the sprinkle. They're like the whipped cream. They add to your life. They're like that overflowing lava cake, right? You're like, God, that's so good, right?
Yes. Yummy.
They're just yumminess, right? And it's like, if your cup's not full, how are you going to offer that to somebody else? How are you going to offer your cup to somebody else? It's kind of like what they say about when you're on an airplane, put on your own oxygen mask first, right?
Yeah.
Quite a bit, because you can't help the other person if you don't have your own mask on first. Fill your cup first. And then be that whipped cream for somebody else. Be that those marshmallows for somebody else. Be those sprinkles.
I love that. I love that. It's such a great analogy. It's like, oh, what if you got a fireplace right now with my hot cocoa?
I know, right? I'm like,
I want to be somebody's marshmallow.
I love that. I know. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? I'm like trying to fix this thing over here, and it's like I'm getting
myself. That voice is in my head.
I know, right? Again. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm taking this down. All right, folks. All right, Jen, do you have any last words about this? Because there's so many great nuggets here.
Yeah, I just want to close and say that it really comes down to communication.
Yeah.
And how you do it. Yeah. How you do it. Because even if you're not a great communicator, I mean, if you can even just check yourself and not be attacking, that is like big steps and big strides in and of itself.
Oh, so true. And I'm going to, because you mentioned this, I think it's really important to mention that we each have our own ways of communicating.
Yeah.
You know, I'm one of those people who are like, come on, let's just get it out there. Let's just like focus. Let's just get it. Come on.
Yeah.
And sometimes my husband's like, oh man, she's just more than enough. And it's like the walls go up, right?
Yeah.
And we communicate. We always have. We've communicated differently. And so you've got to remember that can change a dynamic really easily. That can either help or hinder, or you got to work on the way that you communicate together. If in fact, here's a point, you're invested in this relationship to actually work on it. Relationships are work every day.
Yep.
Every day.
Time, effort, energy, like you said.
Yeah, it's an investment. You know what I like to think about? It's like a bank account, right? Or it's like an IRA. It's like a something you would know best. You can figure out a better analogy than I can in this regard. You're putting money, you're putting time and energy. Think of it as an account that you're like building.
Yeah.
And if you keep doing withdrawal after withdrawal after withdrawal after withdrawal, what's going to happen? You're going to be bankrupt.
Yeah, you're going to deplete the account. It's going to be empty.
It's going to be empty.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be like, oh, wow.
What happened? I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
More withdrawals and deposits.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's such a great analogy. Man.
I feel like our nuggets already.
I know, it's not for our nuggets, but I do want to say this. If you missed any of this conversation, if you missed any of our conversations about addressing life, love, and money matters, head over to our Life, Love, and Money YouTube page. Yeah, subscribe on our YouTube channel. I love that right there. The Life, Love, and Money show with Summer and Jen. Subscribe today. Subscribe today. There's such good stuff there. All right, Jen, it's time for what?
Is it Nugget of the Day?
Yeah!
Okay. Wow, this went by so fast. So
I know.
I'll just dive into it. So my nugget of the day is, as you're going through this, whether you are somebody in a really, really happy, nothing's going wrong situation, or you are in that place of like, I don't know what the heck is going on. My nugget is check in with your partner and just start the conversation and just like, hey, babe, I just wanted to check in on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel that we are? And define those parameters, what that is for you. 1 being like, I feel like I don't even exist, to 10, like, this is freaking awesome. And let that be the litmus test of where you start your conversation. But it's so good to just do a check-in, because as you heard, as we've been talking throughout the last, 40 minutes or whatever, it's so important to realize we have to look at it, the situation, not just from our lens, but from our partner's perspective. We may think everything might be at a 9 or a 10, but your partner may be feeling like they're at a 5 or a 6. And if you don't do this check-in, you're going to keep going along. And this could also be why you may feel like, why are they ignoring me? Because you guys are not on the same page when it comes to the spectrum. So make sure you check in and find out like, okay, well, where are we at? Or where do you feel that we're at? And then let that be the start of your dialogue and conversation.
Oh, I love that. Well, I did a nugget earlier that I really liked, and it just eluded me. What did I say last time, Jen?
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
It was so good. I was like, oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say today is really understand your emotions. When you are feeling a certain way, feeling versus emotions, feeling versus emotions. Feelings are your thoughts about how these emotions are impacting you. You can embrace them. Take a step back. Breathe. Count backwards from 10, 3, or 9. I can't even count. 10, 9, 8, 7. I'm going 10 to 3. What? So
It works out. It works. It's still going backwards.
I know, going backwards, right? So take time. Understand what these emotions are. Then from there, you'll be able to express how you're feeling more effectively without being so reactive. Be proactive, not reactive. Embrace those emotions, but understand. The next step is understanding where you want to go with that, how you want to really engage somebody without being attacking. Embrace your own emotions. Understand where they're coming from. All right, folks.
I love it.
Thank you. That was my nugget of the day. We've got some great nuggets. Thank you for your nugget, Jen. I love it. Having that scale is so valuable and checking in. Right on. All right, folks. We'll be back here next week on Thursday on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is also 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us next Thursday. And by the way, if you have a question, a life, love, or money question, please DM your questions. We are here for you. We want to answer your questions. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we're going to take it out.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and Jen. Dr. Summer Watson is the owner of the production and coaching company Core Women, LLC, is a doctor of psychology, has a depth of experience working in both for-profit and nonprofit in human services and mental health, is a professional coach, seminar host, documentary film producer, and an author. Jen Fontanilla is a former financial advisor and now a certified money coach, speaker, and has published 6 books. She has worked with organizations such as the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers, Target, Goodwill, and the U.S. Air Force. She loves working with women and helps them master their money and mindset to empower them to build the ultimate life without worrying about money. Join Summer and Jen every week as they go live on the Life, Love, and Money Show on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn.